Hey pilots, it's Craig Gamma with the Paraglider Service USA. I want to share an experience I had yesterday while sewing paraglider end loops. Quite a few years back I switched from a manual sewing machine to a computerized digital sewing machine, and the nicety of that is that you can document all the settings and repeat them easily without doing any trial and error. And so here I have all the different line types on this page, and then all my settings, so that everything's quick. So in this case, I had a line, was a Delrid 7343 line series at 140 kilogram rating. Had an order for such, so I went ahead and set up my sewing machine to these settings. And the order I had previously was a thicker line, so it had Tex 70 thread in it. So I switched my thread on my spool from Tex 70 thread to Tex 45 thread. Switched out the needle to a smaller needle to the size 70. And then I adjusted my settings accordingly. My zigzag stitch length, 0.95 millimeters. My zigzag stitch width to 1.6 millimeters. And my upper thread tension to 7.75. And foot pressure to 30. And I oiled the hook, put the bobbin back in, and started sewing. And this is what the end result was. If you look here, this is the top thread, how it looks, top surface, and the bottom surface is looking substantially different. I haven't had this kind of problem since the manual adjusted sewing machine days, and I'm thinking, what the heck? Usually it's just a slight difference, and I'll move these a quarter from 7.75 to 8.0 or down to 7.5, and that does it. That's it. And you know, these are moving targets, but they're 1/4 0.25 settings one way or the other as you're doing it. And I see this on the fly. I use surgeon optics, lopes, whatever you call them, glasses. And when I start sewing here, my reverse stitch, I'll go one stitch, two stitch, and usually the first stitch, I'll see right away that it needs to be tightened or loosened a tad. And I'll do that adjustment right on the fly, and I just keep sewing. And that way, I don't waste any material, and everything's really nice in that regard. And in this case, the tension was looking good. There was the loop from below wasn't coming through the surface here on the top, and so I just kept sewing. It looked good. But then when I looked at the bottom, this was just a huge surprise. I haven't had this in a long time. I'm like, what the heck? So, well, I just need to, it's the lower surface, so I need to increase the upper tension. So I increased the upper tension from 7.75 to 8.25, and I thought, you know, there's a big difference here. I'm going to go ahead and back off my bobbin tension a quarter turn, counterclockwise. So I did that, and I sewed it again. Same thing. Looking good on top, looking very loose on the bottom. I go, dang. So I went ahead and adjusted this again from 8.25 to, I think I jumped it, I was just mad at this point in myself. I went to 9.25, which is a big difference. But I'm thinking, gosh, I didn't move at all, that last adjustment. And he changes it quite a bit with just a minute change. And then I also did another quarter turn counter on the bobbin case as well. And same thing. Good on the top, appears to look loose on the bottom. But, you know, all my points, you know, I know this video doesn't show it good, but all the points on the zigzags are sharp. On this side, they're sharp on that side. I don't have the loop from either side poking through at all. So I'm thinking, what the heck's going on here? And then I noticed something. I have two pieces of masking tape on my sewing machine. One is to keep track of how many times I sew with the needle, like to a certain amount, then I switch the needle out before it becomes problematic. I don't want any problems in the midstream here. So I be proactive in that avenue. And same thing, I have another masking tape that denotes the Tex thread that I have in my bobbin case. Well, in this scenario, what happened was my masking tape stickiness had worn off mostly, and it fell down and was not visible. It wasn't on the machine. And I go, where'd the heck did that go? And I pick it up, and it said Tex 70. That's the whole problem here. I didn't change the bobbin thread, so I changed the upper spool thread to Tex 45, which is a thinner line, and I put in the same bobbin. I had the Tex 70 thread in the bobbin, and that was it. So that's what this is. This top thread is Tex 45 thread, and this bottom thread is Tex 70, which is much thicker. And no matter what you do with tensioning, they're not going to look the same because they're two different pieces of thread. So a lot of relief that was. It was just a mistake on my end in regards to switching out the bobbin case, and I've never made this mistake before. Ever since I had this scenario with my masking tape, so I know that, reminds me. But in this case, the masking tape fell down, so I lost sight of it and didn't change it. And there I go, this problem revealing itself. So anyhow, life's good again. It was just a thread issue and not a tension issue, thank God, because I was thinking, man, there's something wrong with my sewing machine, and that could be bucks to fix. And anyhow, just thought I'd share that experience. Talk to you all later. Bye.